Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your magic moon message. This is the Peace Dealer. A lot of very important shifts during this phase. And yeah, I hope you're excited. I guess I'm a little late to recording this as we only have like one really good full day of this transit left. But the moon in Virgo will be making a 210-degree angle to the sun at like 27 degrees, basically near the end. This will be one of the first or second times the moon is going over the south node in Virgo. And Mercury is currently making a 29-degree quincunx with the south node in Virgo. So yeah, sensitive shifts we will see with Mercury that will be going into Pisces by the time you watch this, which is a very huge deal. The moon, of course, is giving us an analytical understanding of the mastery of this celestial awareness we have in Aquarius. Aquarius represents science. It's effectively knowledge, the quality of knowledge. Fixed signs will really speak to the quality of anything it represents. Aquarius being the highest currency is going to be knowledge. And when we go through the mutable portal with Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, this represents the perceptual elements that really now work around our understanding of, let's say, scientific or knowledgeable principles. So Gemini is going to be experimentation. Virgo is analysis. Sagittarius is interpretation. And I think Pisces completes that with reasoning, why it is we come to these conclusions. And then we go through this circle again, as every time we gain new analysis, that seeks to transform our current knowledgeable awareness. And that's what the relationship between Virgo and Aquarius is. So you want to think of every time we have the moon in Virgo every 28 days as an update towards what we are currently analyzing relative to the previous 28 days, given that the only thing constant is change. So relative to that previous time where the moon was in Capricorn and we were taking this analytical understanding to direct the integrity of it and push our character forward, now we are taking supernatural energy. This is purely sci-fi at this point, that we have begun to awaken collectively. And as the moon went through Taurus and grounded this higher concept through our physiological senses, the moon in Virgo is giving us a direct experience of how this is changing our behavior. Of course, with the aspect to Neptune and Uranus, this can invoke fear in others who are not ready to accept these concepts because it goes beyond their theoretical models and ideas of the universe. But thankfully, your direct experience will seek to change your current system of beliefs, because 2 weeks ago when the moon was in Pisces and we were believing what could be, now we're analyzing how it happened. Okay, if we really just take the past 2 to 3 weeks ago alone. All right. So as of now, the moon is opposite Saturn, and Mercury shifting into Pisces, into this fantasy wonderland, is going to join this final party of Poseidon. Okay. The whole purpose of Mercury loading up energy in Aquarius is updating the knowledge that with the conjunction of the sun, we had activated this epiphany of our brain catching up to our consciousness, so that once it goes into Pisces, we now know what we can imagine. Mercury favors analytical signs like Virgo or experimental signs like Gemini. Not the biggest fan of Pisces, where now we're having to think of things big picture that aren't necessarily literal, but, you know, maybe more meaningful abstracts of other things. But this is going to, like putting LSD on your brain, allow you to really think beyond concepts that you currently are comfortable with. Anyway, you're going to feel this immediately. And thankfully with the moon in Virgo, you can analyze the understanding of what is real about these concepts you may be imagining. Now, this is also going to produce the effect of supernatural, energy that you've just activated. And you don't necessarily want to let the outdated traditions and fear of others project on you, with which, because something that doesn't sound like it makes sense in the moment, doesn't really make it really untrue, where this is your brain breaking through previously established neural pathways to ahead of time, get you used to a mode and method of processing, in this case, metaphysical phenomena that you can't even see, touch, taste, and hear, and just kind of make you get used to it very quickly. Because this next 2 weeks is going to be preparation into one of the most legendary rabbit holes of all time, where things will continue to make even less and less sense. So this is where the lesson of what Aquarius season taught you: who do you know yourself to be, and who belongs around you who also recognizes and knows this as well? Well, the moon in Virgo is harvesting this 180 degree as we reach 210 degrees. You're coming into a real understanding how this is really harvesting. Given that Aquarius is not necessarily representative of a physical vibration, this Taurus slowed down, condensed, energy. The moon in Virgo is going to give us a very physical, practical, tangible understanding of how what is unseen actually plays out, and that will transform our knowledge. And as the moon goes into Libra, that will apply this shift in perspective so we can understand how socially to actually apply that with other people. All right. Venus is in Aries, smacking people left and right, hard in the face, because she's angry. But thankfully, this will really charge your heart, more authentically. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who are celebrating it with those you love. This will definitely fare a very raw and authentic expression that doesn't beat around the bush and is very uncompromisingly unafraid to express who you are, not in the fears of turning off somebody or desperately trying to fit in with what's acceptable. Venus is sextiling Pluto. So the more intensely and unapologetically yourself you are, you'll really just be thanking yourself in advance, especially as it lightly begins to sextile Jupiter. And that's what brings me to, I think, a very important aspect of this transit. As you can see, the moon is exactly opposite Saturn, meaning 2 weeks ago we activated, of course, the update of the change of our system of beliefs, understanding how our beliefs reflect what we have activated, we know about ourselves. And now 2 weeks later, we're understanding how what we previously believed is, actually real. So we're not out here delusional on these streets. Now, the square to Jupiter is also integrating this recent evolution and update of the thought process that makes the belief of what we know ourselves much more true and less retarded. So the moon in Virgo here is not only accounting for what's real about our beliefs, but how we can take actual thought processes and make them real as well. Because people are out here just making shit up, really just because it makes them feel good. So the moon in Virgo is a really good 28-day reminder of how delusional most people fucking are. Now, excuse my language, but this is also, as this trines Uranus and Taurus, in, accounting for actual real facts and just not basically pathos and passion pushed by people who are just determined to believe only what they want to believe. This is going to innovate very radically what you've already put in place a week and a half ago in order to diversify your bonds, in order to really stabilize this heightened quality of supernatural energy that for many of you might wear on your body. So this is going to really, are you ready? Help you understand how to make real sense of this, shift your behavior in ways that align with your mindset and your beliefs. All right. And what does that mean? You've already activated the past 2 weeks what you know about yourself, what you have to believe to support that, and now what you have to think to creatively express this knowledge of self. Now you're harvesting how that's actually real. Now you're harvesting how anything that has been fugazi in your doubt of what you know is actively being proved wrong by you experiencing it in detailed fashion. Okay. And this is where that sextile to Mars in Cancer that will eventually go direct will fuel what you feel you desire by how much more, precisely you can analyze where you will eventually take it when the moon goes into Libra. Okay. Um, and yeah, as the moon will eventually oppose now Neptune coming into the next day at the very end of Virgo, this is going to bring, of course, a peak of this analytical understanding. And that's where opposite Neptune, which will now really give you a more practical understanding of more transcendent facets of your imagination, uh, maybe some hope for some of you in situations that you felt were quite literally impossible. Of course, the moon opposite Neptune is beginning to harvest that phase of the development of our imagination, as it will eventually get ready to go into Aries coming into the next 2 months. But let us not sleep on that South Node. That, I think, coming into, Saturday is going to really tie together events and circumstances so that you will understand how you're at the right place at the right time at this crucial 212-degree angle to begin to actively transform the knowledge you have effectively activated, integrated, and harvested. That seamlessly now applies the perspective in the direction we will understand with others we're meant to take it so that we can see who also recognizes everything we know. And as the moon, or rather as the Mercury has entered Pisces, this will now take everything you've programmed with this epiphany, and you'll already begin to experience it, being able to process the unseen. That doesn't make sense, by the way. Nothing about that makes sense. That's why this is going to be like sci-fi as fuck. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoy this transit. This is going to prepare you to step into next week where we're in Pisces season proper. And it's going to be like some fantasy horror movie hybrid, maybe with some drama and thriller, but definitely some action. Do not let your heart give up. Relative to just the nature of marching forward towards what brings you excitement. Okay. I think if you get too caught up into how you feel things are supposed to be, you will really be passing up the opportunity to trailblaze a way that has not really been traveled, especially with the light of your uniqueness. So don't be afraid to be a bit freaky. Any kind of moves you make that you hold back because you're afraid of how you'll be perceived is really just going to hurt you in the long run. So allow a day like today to see who you can celebrate being themselves just as they celebrate you being who you really are. Or you risk being trapped in relationship patterns that don't really reflect you just because you want the feeling of being with somebody. And that's stupid. Anyway, you guys stay blessed as always. You're going to gain a masterfully real understanding of how you have awakened revolutionary qualities within yourself. And by revolutionary, I mean supernatural on a level that you may have been gaslighted to believe is just in your head or in the movies. The moon in Virgo will give you details on how this is actually real. May the beliefs you have constructed align with the details and receipts you harvest. And until next time, peace.